VMX Show Season 4.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the VMX Show. This is Season 4, Episode 8. I have a great show for you. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Got lots of questions and comments, lots of news to talk about, so let's get to that now. The music. Yeah, that was from Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together on PlayStation Portable. The song is called Piercing Truths. Great game. Highly recommend that you get it. So let's get to your questions and comments right away. Let's get that over with. Let's see. Mr. Lover of Ganja asked, what is the worst real-time strategy game you've played? That's, I haven't really played any real-time strategy games that I didn't really like. I mean, every one that I've played, I found at least some redeeming qualities to, so I can't really think of one off the top of my head that was bad. So I'm going to move on here. Let's see. Circulation 211, referring to, someone asked me what my least favorite Mortal Kombat character was. I said Stryker. They said, I personally think Stryker gets too much of a bad rap. If you get past his boring personality, in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Trilogy, he was a pretty powerful character to actually play as. But obviously you can't say the same for him for any of the games after that, especially Armageddon. Phew. Well, Armageddon was the only one he was in after that. I'm going to break in here and tell you something. Ed Boon apparently thought the Stryker was going to be huge. As a matter of fact, he was supposed to be a character in the original Mortal Kombat, was replaced with Kano near the end. They tried to find a way to get him into Mortal Kombat 2. That didn't work. He thought that Stryker would be this really popular character, but he turned out to be lame. It doesn't matter how good he is in battle, he's a lame character, just a lame design, lame story, lame everything. I mean, the only character that I can think of as lamer than that is Mocap, except that Mocap was only in one game, while Stryker has been in 3, so that's just a lot more lame. Moving along to what else you said. He really should have been... He really shouldn't have been kept in the roster of characters after Mortal Kombat 3, but I suppose they had to keep him in Mortal Kombat 9 to keep it consistent with its reimagining nature. No, it makes sense that he was in 9, but it doesn't mean I like him. Cobra DVS says, Hey, great show, Necro. I saw your latest List Critics video, and on the countdown of top 25 consoles, you had some good things to say about the Sega Master System, which is cool to hear. What are some of the things about the Master System that you liked? I didn't really say much about the Sega Master System. I just said that it was technically superior to the NES. But I'm not, if you read between the lines, I'm not really saying anything nice about it. It was a technically superior system that didn't make it, which really just shows how well the NES did. I haven't played that many Master System games, so I really couldn't tell you much about that. Pack is Back 04 says, Hey Necro, great show as always. My question is, have you beaten Metroid Other M? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? I personally found it to be just as good as Metroid Prime 3, even though many people thought it was lacking in several departments. I thought the story was better than people made it out to be, and I thought it helped Samus as a character. The only issue for me was the length. Anyways, I saw your videos on it a while back, and I just wanted to know your final verdict on the game. I have not beaten it because I don't like it. I'll eventually go back and I'll probably finish it, but for now, I'm just disgusted with the game. I think it's a mediocre game at best. I think it's a horrible game as far as Metroid is concerned. I think it hurt Samus's character more than anything because... Samus, she was always the perfect case for strong female characters in video games, strong women, a character who is, independent and powerful and doesn't take any shit from anybody. And basically, in the story of Metroid Other M, a man is mean to her in the beginning, and she spends the whole game whining about it and trying to gain his approval like some chick with daddy issues. So I really didn't like that aspect of it. I thought the gameplay was far below par, far below par, because none of it was skill-based. It was a lot of quick-time stuff. Not really too much of a fan of that. It never felt like a Metroid game. Like, I remember when Metroid Prime came out on the GameCube, and I thought, man, first person, this is going to be, fucked up. This is not going to feel like Metroid. It's going to, be a generic first-person shooter type of game, and it's going to suck. But I got it anyway because it was Metroid, and I wound up loving it. And despite changing the perspective so drastically, it was good. It felt like a Metroid game. Whereas what I had imagined a 3D Metroid game to be like, I always imagined it to be more like Other M. So when I got Other M, I was expecting it to feel like Metroid, and it didn't, not at all. So to compare it to Metroid Prime 3 was a masterpiece. Other M was a trashterpiece. Not a good game at all. Jimmers, I assume that's how he wants people to say his name, says, I love the Clearing Confusion series you're doing on your channel. Sorry if you've answered this already. What is your favorite game you've bought recently in the past year? Recently. Try to think here. It says some games that I've bought but I haven't played yet. I mean, I guess it's, since you said in the past year, it's a little too late to be crowing Castlevania Lords of Shadow, so I do got to move on to something else. I'd say Mortal Kombat. I really did enjoy Mortal Kombat on the 360. Still play it every once in a while. E11 Network says, Hey Necro, if you played Retro Game Challenge for DS, did you like it? If you haven't, you know what? I keep telling you guys, can you please stop with the questions like, have you played this game, and if so, what did you like it? That's such a boring question. If you can't ask me something that's interesting, don't ask me something. You don't have to have a question. I just get so sick of, have you played this? Have you played that? No, I haven't played it. God, what do you care? Alright, Nightmare Beast 89 says, I take it you're not a fan of the sandbox games. No, I just find them boring. But I am sure you know there's a multiplayer Minecraft blah blah blah. Okay, moving on. Hey Necro, you win again. Necro 1, my wishful thinking 0. I was for 13 Duct Tape Ninja 13. I forget whatever it is that you're referring to. But, okay, I'll take any victory I can get. Nenson Dubois, is that how you say it? Hey, Nicker, do you find unused game content interesting? If so, what is your personal favorite read? I find it interesting if it's a game that I'm interested in. And I like looking into finding out what didn't make it into games that I've played, especially games that I really liked. And sometimes that stuff is still there. I am a fairly frequent visitor to the site Unseen64, which is probably the best archive of unseen footage out there. Well, not unseen, but unseen footage, screenshots, and information. Probably the most interesting was all the stuff having to do with the original Legend of Zelda, especially since some of the unseen content made it into the manual. One thing that always confused me early on was that in the manual for the Legend of Zelda, it shows the screenshot where Link is getting the sword for the first time, though it looks like you're getting a choice of either the sword or the boomerang. And imagine if you took the boomerang. Like, would you get the sword later on, or would the boomerang be more powerful? It's just kind of interesting. You know, I found out later that was from an earlier version of the game, and they decided to not do that. So, I always found that to be fascinating. Let's see. Moving on to Splashfire 0x. The Kirby game Chris Collette222 was talking about was Kirby Wii. That game is supposed to be on the GameCube, but then it got on the Wii. I never heard of that. I think that if it was a GameCube game, originally it would have come out way earlier. I mean, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was a GameCube game, and that was released in the GameCube. Super Paper Mario was originally envisioned for the GameCube, so I don't see why they would wait till the end of the Wii's lifespan to release something that was going to be a GameCube game. Dave Cornfan says, I know you collect GameCube games. I wanted to know if there are any games that were really hard to get a hold of. Like, I have heard that Twilight Princess is a bitch to find. Twilight Princess is not a bitch to find. I actually still to this day see it in GameStops for the GameCube. As a matter of fact, I see it just as often as the one for the Wii, to be honest. So, thinking of games that were a bitch to find, I don't know. I don't go out of my way to get games. Which is why when it bugs me, like when I'm doing like the Mortal Kombat feature, and I'll say, well, I'm not going to do Shaolin Monks because I don't have it. I tried to get a copy of it, but I didn't. I don't actively go out searching for it. I just, if I'm in a store, I'll look for it. If it's not there, no big deal. I don't really go out of my way to get games because it never works out for me. I always just stumble upon them. There are some games that I've never seen, like Pokemon Box, which is extremely rare. And even if you go on eBay and you look for it, they're selling only the Japanese one. It was a very limited release in America. So that's probably the hardest one to get a hold of. It's said that getting NCAA college basketball 2K3 is very difficult because it is the rarest game on the GameCube and lowest print run. But I got lucky. I got it, not only very easily, but cheap. I got it for only $25 when I've seen people selling it for over $100. So I've been pretty lucky so far with the GameCube stuff. Let's see, moving on. Yojimbo2233 says, man, Capcom need to get its shit together. It canceled first the Resident Evil BS. That's you're saying BS. Next they canceled Mega Man Legends 3. Oh, I was going to do it. Why do you guys comment on news? Was going to do a news story about it. I'm just going to skip this. Fuck it. Let's see. God Starscream says, hey, Necro, what old school classic games piss you off to the point that the wall or someone's face was going to get a fistful of punching love to it, yet you still play it because it was just that damn good? Old school... Well, I guess probably the easiest answer there would be Battletoads, because that game is fucking hard. It's way more hard with two people than it is with one people. If you're playing it on your own, it's not that bad, but if you're playing with two people, it's like fucking impossible. New York Mets fan. Oh, okay, I'm skipping you because you're talking about something that I'm going to be doing in a news story. Unique Techniques. That's another one I'm skipping. Okay. Let me fucking do the news before you ask me questions. Dreadnought2448 says, hey, Necro, I'm well aware that you are a really big James Bond fan. I was wondering, what would be your pick for the most overrated Bond actor? I'm not talking about your least favorite, just the one that gets way too much praise. By the way, great episode as always. Now, that's a good question, and I gotta say Sean Connery by far is the most overrated. He was great, and he definitely set the standard by which all other actors who play the role would be compared to. But there's people who say, that he was the only good one, that he was the best out of all of them, and that nobody could ever compare to him, and it's just not true. I thought that Lazenby was great. I thought that Roger Moore had his issues, but most of the issues with the Roger Moore movies were the script, not his acting. I thought that Tim Dalton was great. I thought that Pierce Brosnan was good, and I feel that Daniel Craig is great. So, I would take Tim Dalton over Sean Connery every day, but just because he was the original, people think that nothing could ever live up to him, and I hate that mentality. Moving on, Jazzmaster 909 asks a very weird random question. Another random question: when you were in high school, what did you hate more, math or history? Well, I didn't really hate either math. I hated history at first, but then I had a good teacher, and I kind of liked it after that, so I guess history. I never hated math. That was always one of my best subjects. And he also says, did you ever consider making your own Doom wad? Yeah, I did consider it, and then I saw how difficult it is, and I said, no, I'm not going to do this, because it's incredibly difficult, at least as far as I'm concerned, to do. It's not easy. So I won't be doing that anytime soon, or probably any time at all. So that's it for questions and comments. This may be a quick show this week. I don't have a guest, and that's it for questions and comments. So we're going to get to the news, but first let's play some music. Here's something from Dissidia. Maybe I'll do old PSP music. Let's see how it works out. That was from Dissidia Final Fantasy on the PSP. A nice medley of songs from Final Fantasy VI. You had Terra's theme, which was also the overworld theme. You had the Decisive Battle and also the Fierce Battle, all arranged versions, all from Dissidia. So let's get to the news. Got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Let's bring up my little news file. Last week, here's a follow-up and then a follow-up to the follow-up. Follow-up to last week's story that I did about the modernwarfare3.com domain, which pointed to EA's official Battlefield 3 site, which is pretty funny. Although, of course, it pissed off Activision, and they've been trying to gain control of the domain. After a while, the website changed, and it displayed a clip from the movie The Life of Brian, which was a Monty Python movie, which had overdubs. This was clearly done by, this was clearly nothing to do with Electronic Arts or Activision. This was clearly done by a fan of the Battlefield series. And there was also a message complaining about Modern Warfare being generic and that Battlefield 3 is a better game and all this and that, which I think is a stupid thing. You don't know anything about either game because you haven't played them yet. But this guy, he's trolling. Then the website stopped working at all, so it didn't work at all. But here I have the Life of Brian clip with overdubs. So let's here I'll play that for you. Let's hear that.
Funny about Modern Warfare. Well, it's a bad game, sir. Well, my favorite game of all time is Modern Warfare.
Silence! What is all this insolence? You will find yourself in gladiator school very quickly with rotten behavior like that.
Can I play it, sir?
Alright, it's just gonna go on and on. Like, that's actually pretty funny, but it goes on for like 2 minutes. But yeah, the owner of the domain was outed by GoDaddy.com. It turned out to be a guy from Miami, Florida, named Anthony Abraham, and he's actually had the modernwarfare3.com domain for nearly 3 years, and that he's hidden his identity through GoDaddy.com domains by proxy, which is a hiding service basically. But Activision filed a dispute, saying that Modern Warfare 3 is their intellectual property, and it looks like, the website's down. It doesn't do anything right now. It brings up an error or a blank page depending on what browser you're using. But anyway, they're now suing. They're saying that he has no right or legitimate interest in the domain name, and they're trying to get it back, so let's see what happens. He's asking them for money to get the domain. I don't think that's going to happen, personally. Here's some good news for Final Fantasy Tactics fans. Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions, which was the remake of the original Final Fantasy Tactics on PlayStation. This one was on PSP. It is coming on PlayStation Network, so that'll actually it is already available as of right now. It came out on the 19th, so you want to check that out. If you played the PS1 version of Final Fantasy Tactics, you know it was a masterpiece. This has completely redone cutscenes, some extra characters, there's new items, and a redone translation. It is the far superior version of the game, and I highly recommend it. So definitely go check that out. Some news on the next Xbox console, or rather I should say some bullshit about the next Xbox console. They're saying that, I don't believe this for a second, that the graphics in the next Xbox will be equivalent to the movie Avatar. I've heard that kind of stuff before. I remember when the Nintendo 64 was first being talked about, and they were talking about the Silicon graphics engine and everything, and Nintendo was sticking by their decision to stick with cartridges rather than move on to optical disc format. And they said that, it'll look like Toy Story, and of course it wasn't even close to that. So take that with a very large pinch of salt. Yes, Mega Man Legends 3 has been canceled. Everything about it is completely canceled. It's really sad. At first, it looked like Capcom was going to blame the fans because apparently they had some sort of dev room website thing where you can, where fans could I don't know, like help develop the game or something, and they said that so few people took part in it that they decided to cancel the game, which is ridiculous. Just develop the damn game yourselves. You don't need fans to help you develop the game. Just put it out. And later they said that the whole point of releasing the game is to show how game development is done, and if that was the point of releasing the game, then I'm glad they canceled it, because it wasn't going to be any good then. I gotta say that this is bullshit. Capcom, I am disappointed again. What are you thinking? The whole point of the game is not to show how development is done. The whole point of the game is for you to put out a good product that people are going to want to play and give you money for. That's what the point of it is. People want the game. There's currently a site on Facebook, 100,000 fans strong for Mega Man Legends 3, and overnight they already have more support than Operation Rainfall. Operation Rainfall recently crested 6,000 members. 100,000 strong for bringing back Mega Man Legends 3 has 22,000 people on it. So that is just insane. So really, there's a lot of support for that game, even more so than what Rainfall is seeing for Xenoblade and The Last Story and Pandora's Tower. So I think this is definitely a huge mistake on Capcom's fault. Later on, they went back on what they said. They weren't trying to blame the fans. They said they were just saying that the development website wasn't good enough. Why don't you just develop the game yourself? That's what I have to say. So, yeah, and of course, Inafune's not around to ask Capcom to do it or to lobby for the game. Speaking of Inafune, he was the creator of Mega Man, and he had left Capcom a while ago. Keiji Inafune is now making his first game outside of Capcom. It's called The Island of Dr. Momo. I have no idea what it's for, but he says it looks like it's some sort of social game, so who knows? It might be some sort of Facebook thing. I don't know what's going on there. If you've ever heard of a series called Itadaki Street, which would also be Fortune Street, it goes way, way back to the NES days, and it has actually been developed and published by various different publishers and developers. It is now in the hands of Square Enix, and has been in the hands of Square Enix since the PS2 days, and they've actually done crossovers with Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and crossovers with Dragon Quest and Mario. Well, the Dragon Quest and Mario game, which was called Itadaki Street DS, it was on the DS, none of these games have ever come out in America, but Fortune Street, which is what the American name is coming to America. I don't know what the hell system it's going to be on, DS, 3DS, what's going on? Is this the same one that came out on the DS a while back? But this was announced at Comic-Con. They showed the game. It does have like Mario characters interacting with characters from Dragon Quest games. So, just in the few screenshots I'm looking at, I see Mario and Bowser, and I also see a slime, and I see Angelo from Dragon Quest VIII, and I see Bianca from Dragon Quest V. So, who knows what's going on with that. If you're unfamiliar with Fortune Street, or Itadaki Street as it's called, it's basically a board game, a Monopoly-style board game that has been around for a long time. So, moving on. More news from Comic-Con. Darkstalkers might actually be making a comeback. They were talking about Darkstalkers and how the creator of the series, Yoshiniro Ono from Capcom, has always said that he wanted to do a fourth Darkstalkers game. He was talking about it at Comic-Con, and there was a big thing shown that says Darkstalkers is not dead, or the Darkstalkers are not dead is actually what it said. And I don't know, with Mega Man Legends 3 getting canceled, who knows what's going on there. They also said that they'd love to do HD remakes of the Street Fighter Alpha games, so that could actually be interesting as well. Speaking of fighting games, you can get your name in Soul Calibur 5. Namco Bandai is giving you the chance to do this. You got to go to their official contest site, which is soularchive.jp/NPC_recruiting. And I know it says JP as in a Japanese website, but everything on there is in English. It says, be a part of the creation of Soul Calibur 5. Your original character name will appear in the game. All participants will receive special Soul Calibur 5 desktop wallpaper. Send us your character name suggestion in the application form below. So basically, you fill out their application, you send it to them. This is good until July... from July 20th, so this is going on now, until August 5th. and basically you tell them, you basically fill out a character sheet, and you can have your name in the Soul Calibur game. So there you go. A Tale of Dicks and Clits, eternally retold. Remember the Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary Symphony Concerts? Well, that's happening really soon. Basically, the first one is happening in Los Angeles. Tickets go for $35, and they're going to go on sale on August 1st via Ticketmaster. You want to go to zelda-symphony.com for more information. And, you've gotten a little ahead of myself here. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is going online on August 23rd. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Fight for the Future Online Edition will be hitting Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. This is an update to the already existing Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on there, so now you'll be able to play online. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty weird that you weren't able to before, but now you are. Another follow-up, last week I talked about the possibility of they're making something called GoldenEye Reloaded, and this is actually happening. It is a redux of 2009's Wii game, GoldenEye 007, which is now coming out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, containing new HD graphics. I assume the PlayStation 3 version will have some sort of move support. No news yet on whether or not Kinect will be somehow integrated there. Another follow-up, last week I talked about Marvel vs. Capcom 3 getting an update called Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I can now tell you the names of all the characters that are coming to it. As I mentioned last week, Jill Valentine and Shuma Gorath, who were downloadable content characters, will be available right out the gate, as well as these 12 new characters. On the Marvel side, you'll be able to fight as the Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange, the Spirit of Vengeance Ghost Rider, Hawkeye, that's the bow and arrow guy from the Avengers, Iron Fist, he fits in pretty well, he's a martial artist, Nova, and I actually had to look at this, which Nova they were talking about, because there are two Novas in Marvel Comics. They're talking about the guy who looks like a cross between Iron Man and Thor, not the female Nova. And for some strange reason, Rocket Raccoon, I guess he's going to be like a joke-type character. So there you go. On the Capcom side, Firebrand, who is the Red Gargoyle from the Ghosts and Goblins series, and also appeared in the Demon's Crest games, Gargoyle's Quest and all that. Frank West, who had appeared in Dead Rising and also Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, will be included. Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 will be included. Phoenix Wright, the lawyer. I don't know. That's kind of trying to imagine Phoenix Wright fighting in a game. Objection. Strider Hiryu from the Strider games. He was also in all the other Marvel vs. Capcom games. And finally, Virgil from Devil May Cry. Dante's, I guess, dark twin guy there. Virgil will be in there. So that's what's going on with Ultimate Mortal Kombat. Listen to me. I brought up the next things about Mortal Kombat. That's why Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, the fourth and final DLC character has been announced. It is Freddy Krueger. That's right, not a Mortal Kombat character, but a movie character. I think he fits in really well. The trailer is out there. It was first shown at Comic-Con. There was a huge response to it. So that's pretty cool. I saw the trailer. It makes me wish I had Xbox Live so I can get a hold of these characters. I mean, when I saw Scarlet and Kenshi, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't mind not having it. And then I saw Rain. I was like, yeah, pretty much the same thing. And then Freddy Krueger, I'm like, oh, but nah, I want to get that. Who knows? Let's see. Finally, we have new downloads on Nintendo services. So let's go through that. For the 3DS eShop, we have 3D Classics Xevious will be coming out for $5.99. Remastered exclusively for the Nintendo 3DS system. Fly Solvalu in battle against the Xevious forces. 3D Classic Xevious revisits popular vertical scrolling arcade game, bringing back favorite elements of the original that can be enjoyed in 2D or 3D. In this enhanced version, view Solvalu from a mid-air perspective, engage incoming fire from down below while the scenery and aerial enemies fly by. Pilot the advanced fighter bomber through 16 hazardous areas and destroy as many targets as possible. Annihilate the Andor Genesis for extra points and earn a place among the high scores. Okay. Nintendo Video is also coming out. This is a free download. Nintendo Video brings music videos, exclusive comedy, animation, and action to your Nintendo 3DS system. Every week, new videos will be delivered to your Nintendo 3DS via the Spot Pass feature. But the videos won't stay long. Wait too long and you'll miss them. To start watching, download Nintendo Video from the Nintendo eShop today. You have to download this onto your SD card via Spot Pass, and it's only viewable, the Nintendo content is only viewable through Nintendo Video. Videos are available for a limited time only. Wireless internet access is required, and Spot Pass feature must be enabled. Over on WiiWare, we got a new game called Bobby Carrot Forever from FDG Entertainment, coming out for 800 points. That's 800 Wii points is $8. Puzzle adventure game with hundreds of brain-bending levels, suitable for the entire family. Classic 2D old-school gaming. Bobby Carrot isn't just any hare. When he sleeps, he dreams of incredible adventures in fantastic worlds. It's a puzzle game. Features 15 hours of adventure based on an award-winning series. Sweeping soundtrack, over 70 levels included. Download more levels with add-on content, quick save features, and 3 save game slots. Over on DSi, where we got a new game called Antipole. This is coming out from Saturnine Games for 500 points. 500 DSi points is $5. Manipulate gravity to overcome lethal obstacles, change falls into jumps, and defeat your enemies. Wield the power to reverse gravity as you fight your way through the robot mothership. Manipulate gravity to overcome lethal obstacles, change falls into jumps. Why do they say the same thing twice? I don't understand that. Features include reversing gravity to jump further or walk on the ceiling, hard mode, and unlockable levels for an extra challenge, bonus mode for owners of Cosmos X2. Also, Kung Fu Dragon is coming to DSi, where for 200 points, or $2, select your warrior and prepare yourself. Your destiny awaits you. Deep within the legendary forest, the mythical waterfall breathes spirit into training. For $2, I don't need to read all this. You can select from 3 different warriors, each with their own skills, perform combos and earn bonus points, master the 2-step jump, drive, and float abilities, and defeat boss enemies and advance higher up the waterfall. And finally, for DSi, where we have Troll Border from Enjoy Gaming for 200 points, another cheap $2 piece of shit where you're a troll on a plank of wood snowboarding down a mountain. I'm not even going to read about it. That's bullshit. So that's it for the news. I told you it would be a short show. I don't have an interview and there's not much to talk about, so let me play a little bit more music. Let's see, what other PSP game? Since I seem to have a thing, I don't know, I'm not going to play another thing from a PSP game. How about from a Wii game? I'll play something from a Wii game. We'll play a little thing. If you know the answer to what song this is, don't type it into the thing. Don't tell me. But just see if you can guess it before the song is over. I'll tell you what it is after the song is over. Play a little game there. See if you can guess. It is on the Wii, though. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so did you know it? You probably didn't. That's a tough one to get. That's from Muramasa the Demon Blade, also known as Oboro Muramasa on the Wii. If you liked Odin's Sphere, check it out. If you didn't ever hear of Odin's Sphere, check that out too. Both amazing games. Odin's Sphere was on PS2. Muramasa's on the Wii. Amazing side-scrolling hack and slash type of game. Oh man, I've been lamenting all this season about the shows going long. Looks like this one's going to be a little shorter than an hour. Normally they're a little bit longer. I always try to get it in an hour, and it never seemed to work out. I was like, man, am I ever going to have one where I get to end it on time? And this week I'm ending it early, so I consider, it makes it even. Let's get to the sales figures and then we'll get out of here. Quick week this week. It's bound to happen every once in a while. In America, the top 10 best-selling games for the week ending in July 16th. At number 1, best-selling game was NCAA Football 12 for the Xbox 360, which sold 241,720 copies. NCAA Football 12 for the PlayStation 3 sold 197,593 copies. Just Dance 2 on the Wii sold 37,784 copies. Mario Kart Wii on obviously the Wii sold 35,674 copies. Zumba Fitness on the Wii sold 32,833 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 32,756 copies. Kinect Adventures on the Xbox 360 sold 30,911 copies. Wii Sports on the Wii sold 29,206 copies. Wii Fit Plus on the Wii sold 26,486 copies, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS sold 25,332 copies. In Japan, the top-selling game was L.A. Noire for PlayStation 3. It sold 59,331 copies. Infamous 2 on the PlayStation 3 sold 32,942 copies. Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon on PlayStation 3 sold 30,633 copies. Wii Remocon Plus Variety Pack, which we would know as Wii Play Motion on the Wii, sold 17,410 copies. Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon for Xbox 360 sold 17,309 copies. Danball Senki on the PlayStation Portable, that sold 15,881 copies. Zelda no Densetsu Toki no Ocarina 3D, I think you know what game that is. That's on the 3DS, sold 15,365 copies. Steins Gate on PlayStation Portable sold 13,449 copies. GoldenEye 007 on the Wii sold 13,130 copies, and Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 12,944 copies. In Europe, the top-selling game was Zumba Fitness on the Wii. It sold 37,406 copies. Pokemon Black and White version for the DS sold 36,240 copies. Mario Kart Wii for the Wii sold 28,668 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 27,162 copies. Wii Sports on the Wii sold 24,601 copies. Call of Duty Black Ops makes a comeback on the PlayStation 3, selling 15,118 copies. Wii Fit Plus on the Wii sold 14,835 copies. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS sold 14,686 copies. Dirt 3 on PlayStation 3 sold 13,545 copies. Infamous 2 on PlayStation 3 sold 13,136 copies. Going over to the hardware charts, in America, the top-selling console was the Xbox 360 with 72,468 units sold. Second to that was the Wii. Second to that was the DS, 59,062 units sold. The Wii sold 57,912 units. The PlayStation 3 sold 55,379 units. The 3DS sold 24,388 units. The PlayStation Portable sold 21,621 units. For whatever reason, I don't have the Japanese hardware charts this week, so I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, they're just not there. Don't know what's up with that. Actually, I do have it. It's just in a different spot. I don't understand that. Okay. Well, the top-selling... Yeah, I don't know why it's not there. That's so weird. Okay, well, here's the Japanese hardware chart. The PlayStation Portable at number 1 with 25,430 units sold. 3DS sold 23,542 units. PlayStation 3, 20,150 units. Wii, 13,073 units. DS, 8,362 units. And the Xbox 360, 1,927 units. In Europe, the top-selling console was the Wii, with 48,797 units sold. After that, PS3, 45,162 units sold. DS, 36,123 units sold. Xbox 360, 33,273 units sold. PlayStation Portable, 27,018 units sold. And 3DS, 18,819 units sold. So worldwide, the top-selling console was the Wii, followed by Xbox 360, then PlayStation 3, then DS, PSP, and 3DS last. Worldwide best-selling top 10 games: Zumba Fitness for the Wii, LA Noire for PS3, Wii Sports Resort, Pokemon Black and White version on DS, Mario Kart Wii, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS, Wii Sports, Infamous 2 on PlayStation 3, Wii Fit Plus, and Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon for the 360. That's the show. We'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll have a guest on or whatever. VMX out.